Sean Kanan, welcome to Knocking Doors Down, man. It's good to talk with you. Been a fan of your work for a long time, so this is really cool. This is one of those personal ones where it's like I couldn't sleep the night before.
Your karate sucks, legit.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Yeah. So of course, we want to talk about you doing a lot with anti-bullying campaigns and that stuff.
Sure.
We want to touch on, and then of course Karate Kid 3, and there's some adversity that people don't know about that occurred there. That, I kind of had to deep dive too, and I was kind of like, holy shit. But I always like to know, what was little Sean like? Were you like a rambunctious dude? Because you've got this jovial personality. Of course, I've been watching Studio City, which people can check out on Amazon.
Thank you.
But what were you like as a kid?
I think like a lot of kids, I had different periods of my childhood when I was different, because as we're growing up, you're trying to figure out who you are, right? I read this really interesting thing once, and it was a guy talking about how he was growing up and he had a bunch of different sets of shoes, and what he meant by that was, I tried the track shoes on, and I wasn't that guy, and then I tried the cowboy boots on, and I kind of wasn't that guy, and it wasn't until he found this one pair of shoes that he kind of figured out who he was, and I was a lot like that. When I was a young kid, I went through a period where I was like the chubby kid, and that was difficult. I was bullied a lot. Really, went through some tough times. And in a lot of ways, as kind of painful as that was, and as scarring as it was, I think helped forge a sense of compassion in me, which I like to think as an adult I carry forward to other people, which is really important. As I got a little older, I started training in martial arts. I got more confidence. And then I went away to boarding school my junior and senior year in high school. And that was really difficult too. By that time I had kind of, developed a sense of confidence. I sort of lost a bunch of weight, got contact lenses. I looked very different, but I think I still carried that fat little kid inside of me for a long time. I was never a real popular guy. I was a bit of a loner. Then I went to school in Boston University, and I think that's when you really start to come into your own, once you're completely away from your parents and, away from a lot of the restrictions of school. You make mistakes, but you start to develop who you are. So I don't know if that was an overly lengthy answer question.
No. So why the switch to, I got kind of a two interesting thing. What was the catalyst to getting you involved in martial arts? What was the inspiration for that?
When I was really young, I was really interested in boxing. I think Rocky came out in 1976. Mm-hmm. So that put me at about 10 years old. And by the time I was about 13, 14, I had started doing some boxing, and my mother used to drive me over to this gym on the south side of Youngstown, Ohio, it was a rough area. And very quickly, my parents ascertained that the guys that were boxing there were like boxing as a pathway out of a bad socioeconomic situation.
Right.
And their nice Jewish son was like, that ain't happening. So they found a karate school in my town, and I didn't even really want to study karate. I was really into the boxing, and I was decent at it too. And although young and green, but I started taking karate, and I really just fell in love with it, and I liked the camaraderie of the school. My teacher was a really dynamic individual who wound up playing a very important role in my life as I got older, including being very instrumental in me getting the role in the Karate Kid 3 in a lot of indirect ways. And so that's that. And of course, once the Karate Kid came out and that mania sort of overtook the country and the world, I was already there studying, so I certainly wasn't going to stop.
Yeah, you want a fun factoid about this dick sitting next to me? How many Karate Kid movies have you seen?
Sorry, Sean. I'm sorry, Sean. Nothing personal. Fuck you, Jason. There's a lot of movies that I haven't seen. Okay,
how many Rocky movies have you seen?
Let me give you a list. I've never seen Back to the Future.
The Karate Kid films. You haven't seen Rocky?
I haven't seen Rocky. I haven't seen Back to the Future. I've never seen The Goonies.
Oh, Sean, do you want to know the worst part about Rocky? We were just in Philadelphia doing interviews. We ran the steps at the museum.
No, I ran the steps.
Well, you ran the steps.
Why am I doing this?
I did that. I did that. I saw the highlights of Rocky, but you know what? I ran the steps. He was on the back doing whatever he was doing.
I was filming you running the steps so you could impress a girl, but
you
anyway.
still didn't run them. I ran them, Sean. And I did the Rocky after. I lived it. I didn't watch it. I lived it.
Well, you got to see it. It's a pretty incredible film.
Rocky's on my to-watch list, and Karate Kid 3 too. So it's on my to-do list.
For me, though, I can relate. They were just huge inspirations for me as a child. Kind of, I can relate to that not fitting in, not to, the popular kid. But also, you said something interesting about boarding school, junior and senior year. What was the reasoning behind that?
That's what I was going to ask too.
It was a couple things. First of all, my father had gone there, so I had. It was a bit of a legacy, but also I was kind of screwing up a little bit. I was kind of floundering a little, and my parents were like, "Look, if you're gonna have any chance of getting into a good school, you need to buckle down." And so they sent me there, and it was very difficult. It was very lonely. It was a whole bunch of things. And in retrospect, I'm extremely happy they did it. It really taught me a lot of things about myself, and academically it really helped me. Made some great some friendships. So as much as I didn't like it while I was there, it's one of those things I look back on now and really see the value in it.
Were you super bummed out when you were told you had to go, or was it kind of just like, all right?
Well, I was real thrilled, because here's the thing. I had already started. Spending time with the ladies, so to speak. And, now I'm being sent away to this boarding school where they've got very strict rules about, even though it's co-ed, there's not a lot of intercommingling, habitation, fraternization.
Going on over there, huh?
So, that kind of wasn't great.
Yeah. I was gonna.
He can relate to that.
I was going to ask, was it, what were some of the things going on? Was it just, girl crazy, not focusing on academics? Was it, all that?
I would just say I was testing limits.
All right. Fair enough. We'll leave it at that. So you end up, after boarding school, Boston University, you said?
Went to Boston University for 2 years. Fun years, exciting years. Wish I'd studied harder in retrospect. Wound up going to UCLA and finishing my political science degree there, which was great. And while I was going to UCLA, I got the role of Mike Barnes. I'd actually gotten a couple roles before that, a couple small roles. So I had a very limited relationship with UCLA as far as, having any kind of social life or anything there. And I didn't live on campus. I was, taking classes and just trying to, get through it and get my degree, because I, absolutely knew that, acting was what I wanted to do.
Yeah. That's interesting, being you were a poli-sci major, that was acting, but what spawned you from going across the country from Boston to LA? Was it just that, you know what, I'm in Boston, it was happening here?
It was a couple things. The first thing was, I knew that to be a professional actor, I either needed to be in Los Angeles or New York.
Yeah, New York,
and I would say it's easier to starve where the sun's out. So, and I had met a girl in Boston who was a senior, and she graduated, and she lived in Los Angeles, and said, "Listen, why don't you come out with me?" And I said, "That sounds great." And she said, "You could stay at my parents' house," and they had this fabulous mansion in Bel Air.
Nice.
It was really great. I was very fortunate, and she was very kind, and I was able to start making inroads into acting while I was going to UCLA, while I was staying there. Eventually got my own place, and got into acting class, got a few breaks.
Yeah. What was that process, the inroad? Because I went to film and television school, major directing, minor acting, and you know, to me it just seemed the impossible. Well, you know, people don't understand that break-in and just breaking in and how challenging it can be. What was your process?
So hard, and it's harder. It's harder. It was harder then than it is now, and it was also harder then than it was like back in the day when they had the studio system. Like basically, if they saw somebody that looked like they could be an actor or an actress, they'd sign them to a contract, throw them in acting class, dance class, elocution class, get them in the gym, and then they'd start sticking them in roles in little movies, right? Mm-hmm. By the time I got out there, that wasn't happening anymore, but we didn't have the internet. Now, you know, you've got people that are creating content for themselves, either on Instagram and YouTube, and it's a way of getting seen that didn't exist when I started. So I kind of, you know, I kind of hit it at a time where it was difficult. You know, I knocked on a lot of doors. I was fortunate that I found a manager who was a reputable guy early on. He was a good person, gave me some good direction. And I got in with a very good acting class, and, you know, I was pretty tenacious. I got a couple good breaks, and one break led to another, and, you know, things started happening, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly.
Yeah, I get what you're saying as far as the internet thing, because a perfect example of that is, I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but Justin Bieber. I mean, he got noticed on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, who knows where he would be or what he'd be doing now if it weren't for the internet and all that crap going on. So it's definitely tougher times, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, it's people always ask me, you know, aspiring actors, and they say, well, what can I do? And I was like, listen, you've got all these tools at your disposal to get noticed, because, you know, back in the day when I started out, they would always say, well, we want to see what you look like on tape, meaning, you know, we want to see basically something that is a produced, you know, video or something we can look at to see what your talent is. And now, you know, anybody with a couple lights and a beauty dish and an iPhone can put something together. You know, go learn a monologue, film it, put it on a Vimeo channel and show it to an agent.
Yeah.
You know, did when I was starting out. You kicked off my lawn.
Did training with martial arts kind of create a lot of that tenacity that you had and that toughness as well?
I think so, absolutely. You know, definitely my martial arts teacher was very hard on me. He was emotionally hard on me. He expected a lot out of me. I think there were times when he pressed me to see if I would quit or I would stay. And I think that helped me with a lot of the psychological difficulty that comes with being an actor. You know, it's very emotionally and psychologically challenging because you're constantly in a position of trying to find work, constantly putting yourself out there in auditions, and, you know, 99 out of 100 times you're being rejected. And you have to learn to take that rejection and not see it as a failure, but to learn from it. To, you know, for me, I would say, okay, maybe I got to audition for somebody that didn't know who I was. Maybe I got to prepare for a role that was sort of outside of my wheelhouse. You got to always put a positive attachment onto it.
Yeah. How close did he push you from actually, have you thought about quitting? Like, I'm sure you thought about it, but did you ever get actually pretty close to doing so?
Sure. Yeah, I did. But it was one of those deals where I wouldn't give him the satisfaction.
Right. Yeah.
I like,
you know, kind of the same thing with my acting career. I mean, you know, I'll never forget, when I first came to Hollywood, I think it was Hollywood, or was it New York? Anyway, there was an open call for Nina Blanchard's modeling agency, and Nina Blanchard was a huge modeling agent. And, you know, I had these pictures that I had taken professionally, and, you know, they took my photos back to Nina to go look at in another room, and then they brought it back out and they said, basically, thank you, but no thank you. And I was like, gosh, I was like, fuck it, on to the next. Fuck her, I'll show her. You know what I mean?
That's good. That's a mentality to have, because I might leave crying. It's just, that was really rude. You couldn't have just said, I mean, I guess she said no, but fuck.
But Sean, too, the thing, because I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu off and on over a decade. And there's a difference between bullying and what a mentor does to push you. Can you kind of speak on what what that is? So that
well, I think mentors it's an incredibly important relationship. Almost everybody that's really successful has had a mentor. Bill Gates has had Warren Buffett. I mean, was it, Aristotle had Plato. I mean, anybody who's really achieved anything of consequence, you probably can trace it to somebody that was their mentor, because, this is somebody that's walked the path that you want to walk and can kind of show you where the pitfalls and the mines are. And also hopefully introduce you to some people that are going to allow you to circumvent, some of the challenges, but also challenge you so that you learn to do these things for yourself.
5150 Apparel, lifestyle with a purpose.
When I was growing up in my small town of Western Pennsylvania, I didn't know it at the time, but I love going to movies as a form of escapism, as a way to see beyond my sort of limited horizon in a small town. And I didn't know that going to the movies, those were my earliest mentors. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the outlaw Jesse Wales, Bruce Lee. These were my mentors, and they each showed me something different that I wanted to try and find in myself. I've been very fortunate to have some mentors in my life, and now as a guy that's in his 50s, I try as best I can to mentor other people and to help them learn from my experience, and just basically be willing to share things that I've learned along the way to hopefully help somebody else, and they in turn can pass it on. And I think really that's the circle of life, is the passing it on and pulling somebody up because somebody pulled you up.
Yeah, that pay it forward. Well, and the thing that dawned on me too, that being that you're a huge Rocky fan as well, when you got signed for Karate Kid 3, which we'll jump into, did it dawn on you that the soundtrack was going to be done by Bill Conti, the same guy that did Rocky?
No, it didn't. No, amazing. I mean, and also, I suppose if I really thought about it, I guess it's not that far of a stretch, because John Avildsen, who directed Rocky, directed The Karate Kid. So
yeah, true. Yep. Good point.
John.
What's that?
I said it was quite an honor to work with, an Academy Award-winning director like John.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit. What was that experience like with John? I mean, was he a guy that was on set? Was he kind of almost like a martial arts instructor would be? Was he tough?
No,
was he challenging?
No, John was God rest his soul. John was could be difficult. John knew what he wanted. This was the third installment. It was the third film in the Karate Kid series. So, they had a machine, and I was like the new cog in the machine.
Right.
And it was far and away the biggest thing that I'd ever done, and I had to learn very quickly how to conduct myself on set and not be really excited that I'm working with Mr. Miyagi and Daniel. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
Grown up with them, and now suddenly I'm working with them, and there was a bit of a quick learning curve where I had to kind of, again, they were hard on me, but I needed it because I was a little undisciplined, not out of any kind of thoughtlessness or malice, just kind of like as a bit of a wide-eyed, this is like the biggest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Mm-hmm. But they didn't have time for that. They needed me to do my job, and them being hard on me, I think really focused me into doing my job.
Yeah, because you had to play a total dick. I mean, Matt Barnes is a jerk. I could only imagine that you took an amalgam of all the bullies you had as a kid and threw it into that character.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, it's hard for me to watch The Karate Kid 3 because now, as a guy that's, I've been acting for 35 years, I see all sorts of things that I wish I would have done differently. But, that's what they wanted. They wanted a one-dimensional bully. The guy was described as a 17-year-old white Mike Tyson. And it's so funny, at 17, if you had asked me if I thought I was that guy, I would have said, are you kidding me? But when push came to shove, I guess I was able to, you know, summon that up and create that. You know, so who knows? You know, like I said, I look back on it, and for me, I just see all sorts of things I wish I had done differently. But it's so flattering that after 3 decades, people are still talking about it, and you know, it's now the film has a new resurgence and relevancy thanks to Cobra Kai. Yeah. So, you know, I'm very humbled.
So let's talk about some of the. There's no way I can't do this with you and not ask about Pat Morita as a person. I had such an affection for him.
Well, you know, I grew up watching Pat on Happy Days.
Yeah.
So for me, before he was Mr. Miyagi, he was Arnold.
Right.
You know, I was just, you know, I was ecstatic to be working with him. It was surreal. He was very kind, very funny. You know, he started out as a comedian in the Catskills, and you know, certainly did not talk with, you know, and you know, the accent that he used for the film. He had more of kind of a slight New York accent, but it was an amazing experience to work with him and with Ralph.
Yeah, no, I've conversed with people that have worked with Ralph over the years, including this musician Danko Jones that had Ralph in this long form video thing. He did a series of videos. Just said one of the greatest guys. But there's one situation though that she had that people may not be aware of, and I want to know. Jesus, I don't know how you have dealt with Jerry Weintraub, but there's a scene in the movie that doesn't look like it's when in the final cut where you're being thrown out of the door. If I remember, it's the bonsai store, right?
No, are you talking about I got injured?
Yeah, where was what scene was it in?
No, it was in the Cobra Kai dojo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't when I was being thrown out the door. You would think that, but it was a shot where I sort of just had to jump and fall on my side. Really simple, no martial arts. And yeah, I perforated my omentum, which is something that wraps around your intestine, and I've been bleeding internally. And Christmas Day 1989, while everyone else was getting ready for Christmas with their family, I was in a Las Vegas emergency room bleeding to death. And it was surreal. You know, they told me they didn't know if they could save my life. You know, I had emergency surgery. I thought they meant Monday. They meant in 15 minutes. My dad, they could only get 1 ticket. So my dad flew out from the East Coast, you know, at like 1 a.m. I mean, it was a big deal. I got a call from the studio, actually from John Avildsen, and basically said, look, you've got to make it back to work in like 10 days or else, you know, we're done. You're done. Sure. And so I, you know, got myself out of that bed and eventually got myself out of the hospital and eventually got myself back on the set and eventually did all of my own stunts in the film, with the exception of the one stunt where the guys are in the convertible Mustang doing the donuts, and then they go by and the train comes. I was like, there's no way that I almost died and now I'm getting taken out by. That's not happening. So let the stuntman do that one.
Yeah, I'm not getting in that freaking car. Because, yeah, it looks, right? They shot it just right where you're like, oh, man, that thing barely made it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. So how much of the film was done at that point? I mean, did you still have, like, the final fight scenes, and what else was left?
No. We filmed for about 2 weeks. They had just enough of me that it merited them sticking with me. But you got to remember, I originally was not the first choice for Mike Barnes. They hired somebody else who worked for a week, and then they fired him and brought me in. So that already put them behind schedule, I would imagine. So originally they decided that they were going to use me for all the close-ups and use the stuntman for all the martial arts. But I mean, I've been training for a long time and really diligently, and it was, I was like, there's no way. If I can do this, I'm doing it. Yeah. And so through a lot of, I guess, will and discipline, I was able to, rehabilitate myself enough and convince them that I could do it. I mean, I was still kind of put together with paper clips and rubber bands by the time I was doing all that. I mean, you can imagine that I still have about a 15-inch incision on my abdomen. So, that was freshly healed while I was doing most of that stuff. And there were times that, I would tear and pull, but, it was something else.
Man, hats off to you. You're a tough son of a gun, man.
I just wanted it so badly. I mean, I think, I have a book coming out. It's called Way the Cobra, and it's a motivational, success-based book. And one of the things I talk about in it is that, you have to have a strong why for whatever it is you're doing. Your why is what's going to pick you up when you get knocked down. It's what's going to, force you to summon up strength that you didn't know you had. And my why was I had come too far, and doing this film was, to that point, the most, it was the biggest thing in my life, and there was no way that I was going to lose it. And so that was the why that drove me to do. I don't know if I could do that today. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I would like to think I could, but I was so singularly focused on, not losing the film that was what drove me.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. That's a lot of pain to push through. So, hats off to you, man. That's
being
tough.
in a hospital bed, not knowing if you're going to live or die, and then them calling you saying, by the way, if you're not here in 10 days, it's a wrap. It's like, talk about fucking pressure. Goodness.
Yeah.
Good thing you had all that from your teacher.
So by the time they called me, I had made it through surgery. It wasn't, my life was out of jeopardy at that point.
Oh, okay. So you were good at okay.
Yeah, no, I literally got to the hospital Christmas Day, and they said, we have to operate. And I said, I thought they meant, what happened? I thought they meant Monday. And they were like, no, in 15 minutes.
Oh, shit.
So by the time, they had done the surgery and I woke up and I had, probably 50 staples down my stomach. Mm-hmm. I was out of immediate jeopardy, but then it was a question of how am I possibly going to, there's certain things about healing that you can't accelerate. I mean, it just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And so like I had them discharge me against, medical advice. They were like, we're going to discharge you, but know that we're not taking any liability for this. And I was like, all right, that's fine. I don't care. I got to get back to LA. And so I did.
That's great. And how old were you at that time?
I think I was 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had that gumption at your house.
If I was 21, be like, fuck it. Nope, I'm done. We gave it a good shot. Good try.
give me the drip, right?
Right.
So talk about career after that, Sean, because you've had such a variety of work that you've done throughout. Was it a little bit hard? Oftentimes it's kind of like the Mark Hamill syndrome. You're also an amazing talent, but because people knew this character, did it pigeonhole you for a bit, or were you getting work pretty quickly?
It did a little bit. I think the next big thing I did was I was in The Outsiders, which Francis Ford Coppola produced. It was the television series, which was again amazing because I had, like Karate Kid, I had grown up reading all of S.C. Hinton's books, The Outsiders, Rumblefish, That Was Then, This Is Now. And now suddenly I'm playing the leader of the Socias, which was the rich kids gang. Bad guy. Not from his perspective, but
Socias.
yeah, so I did get cast as a lot of bad guys for a while. And then, I realized that I was getting cast as these guys because I was able to play that character, but I was very quickly getting typecast, and I needed to really do some work on myself as an actor. And so I did, and I got back in class, and I also I did a play. And doing a play is an unbelievable way to grow as an actor because you've got, usually you've got 4 to 6 weeks of intense rehearsal where you're really learning to deconstruct the role and trying out new things that, you don't have that ability when you're doing television. To a smaller extent you do in film, but, because films are largely predicated on finance, they're not real interested in you sort of contemplating your navel and discovering yourself as an artist. It's like show up and do your job while you're being paid. So I was able to grow as an actor. I also, I was doing stand-up comedy too, which I still do from time to time. Just before the pandemic, I was headlining at the Comedy Store on Sunset, and I was supposed to be, and I was supposed to be headlining at the Atlantic City Comedy Club. Got canceled because of COVID, but I really love doing stand-up. And you up there with a microphone and your words. Let me tell you what, it's synchronized. And that is phenomenal training. It's not, it's different than acting, but it really strengthens your muscles for improv. And like one thing I've learned, especially when you're doing low budget stuff, you're doing, independent films, if you have the ability to come up with dialogue on the fly and have the ability to improv when it's appropriate, you can dramatically help your performance, help the film. So that's something that I've always prided myself on, that I think I'm very good at doing that. And I've been able to take sometimes roles that were initially small roles and get them to expand so they stick out a little more.
Yeah. What got you into stand-up? Was it something like, kind of like me, had grown up, man, there was Richard Pryor in the house, there was George Carlin, there was Andrew Dice Clay. Was it something from childhood you wanted to try, or as you continue to expand your repertoire?
I grew up loving, probably weird to say this now, but I thought Bill Cosby was really funny.
We'll edit that.
Well, he was.
There we go. Till I was 8 years old, I thought my name was Jesus Christ, because my dad was like, Jesus Christ, clean your damn. I thought he was funny, and George Carlin, later Eddie Murphy, and I remember I had a buddy who was sleeping over when we were kids, and we conned our babysitter who was watching us to driving us to a comedy club that was like an hour away. And we snuck into the comedy club. I know this sounds like surreal. And I just was like, I was blown away watching these guys keep an audience spellbound with just the words. And I was like, I gotta try that. And, I think the first time I did stand-up was on the boardwalk in Atlantic City when I was like 16 years old. And they had like a local contest. I think I might have won it. I'm not sure, but I think I might have won it. Anyway, after I realized that I was foolish enough to be able to walk up to a bunch of strangers and think that I was funny enough for them to listen to me, it's a little like a drug. It's like I wanted more of it, and over the years, I've just continued to do it. I really, it's just something I love.
Yeah. Well, I think Dave Chappelle put it really great, that it's one of the truest and purest art forms where, I forget what the term is, but it's you can be a storyteller.
Yeah.
If you're Mitch Hedberg and you're the brilliant one-liner guy, or if you're, one of these other comedians that'll, bake the joke early on and finish the joke not till they're into their set, or whatever it is, it's that almost like storyteller that you can bring people together that are diverse,
right, just
through laughter.
Yeah, and I think it's, along with jazz, one of the true American art forms. You know what I mean? I think it's something that is intrinsically American. Stand-up. Starting with, I guess, vaudeville.
The Knockin' Doorz Down autobiography by Carlos Vieira. It takes you deep into his destructive past and how racing saved his life and opened the door to give back to the community. And 100% of the sales go directly to the Carlos Vieira Foundation, an organization committed to raising awareness for addiction, mental health, and autism. And for inspiration and motivation, tune in weekly to the podcast every Thursday for real-life episodes from celebrities and local heroes. Get Knockin' Doorz Down today at kddmediacompany.com or Amazon.
No, I love stand-up. I think it's incredible how somebody can go up with just themselves and a microphone and just you and the microphone, go, make them laugh. Like, I think that has to be one of the most, if not the most difficult job in the biz, if you will, in my opinion, because I think that's incredible how someone can do that. Like going from Andrew Dice Clay selling out arenas, and like you see Kevin Hart, Eddie Murphy, what was it? what was Eddie Murphy's Deliriousness? That's
Delirious, yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it's just like in going out there at 16, such a young age, talk about cojones, my friend, because no way, absolutely not. I couldn't do that.
Well, before we get to some Cobra Kai rumors, fill people in. A cool series that it's available on Amazon. Studio City. How did you get that together?
Yeah, so Studio City is a project that I've been trying to get together for over a decade, and through the right series of relationships and opportunities and some good luck, we were able to get it made. Last year, when it first came out, we had 6 episodes and we got nominated for 8 Emmys and 12 Indie Series Awards. Very exciting.
Right.
And we are in the process now of doing post-production on season 2.
That's
so
nice.
My guess, actually not my guess, it will be up on Amazon if the planets align before the end of this month.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to
Which
it.
is like breakneck speed, just insane.
All right, so you got editors that are like taking rotations, sleeping on a couch.
Oh, you have no idea. It's it's like a juggling act, but it's a project of passion for everybody who's involved. It's funny, it's dramatic. For people who haven't seen it, my character is Sam Stevens, who plays Dr. Pierce Hartley on Hearts on Fire, the #2 soap opera in the world. And he's a guy that you think he's got the world by the tail because he's a soap star and he must be making all this money. And really you realize that he's an aging soap star, and he's fighting to keep his relevance on the show, fighting to keep his job on the show. He's got all sorts of family issues, and he struggles with some issues himself. And he's a guy that always thought he should have had like a bigger career, thought he should have been an action star, until he gets told that he's just too old. And at the end of the pilot of the first season, somebody who he never knew existed shows up and throws his entire reality into chaos. So these are, it's a digital series. The episodes are between 10 and 15 minutes. So it's very digestible, very easy to watch, and it kind of hooks you right away. So if you haven't seen it, please tune in, and you'll be able to see the second season pretty shortly.
Yeah, add it to your list. It's really good. I've enjoyed it. And the thing that I liked about it is what you were saying was that so oftentimes that we perceive people, or this person's got it all together and they've got no issues. And we kind of forget that everyone that's walking around with us has internal and external issues and things that are going on all the time. And it really, even though it does have some good humorous moments and drama, but it really has a lot of heart to it in that regard. Because
I love that saying that you never know what private war someone else is fighting. Yeah. And it's true. Everybody's got their battles that they fight. Sure. And I think that's a reason to try and be, as understanding and compassionate as you can to other people.
Yeah. Everybody's got their own shit going on.
Yeah, everyone's got their own shit.
And with that said, let's talk about the great work you're doing with anti-bullying campaigns, and which is so awesome that full circle from childhood, all that shit, and now you're just trying to, not only educate those that get bullied, but those that are bullying as well.
Sure. So I'm very involved with an organization called Buddha Bullying. I'm the Young Man's Youth Ambassador. We go to schools and do a presentation, facilitate a dialogue with the kids. We discuss how bullying is really a triangle. There's the person getting bullied, there's the person doing the bullying, and then the kids who are affected by being kind of the bystanders. And it's traumatic for everybody. And it's amazing. When I get up and speak, I start by showing a clip of me from Karate Kid 3 when I'm terrorizing Daniel LaRusso, and I said, "Would you believe that scary guy used to get bullied?" And right, it sort of snaps them into what, and it allows me to bridge the fact that I'm a guy in my 50s talking to a bunch of teens and pre-teens, because why would they ever listen to an old guy like me? And it gives me some street cred with them so that I can start to have a dialogue with them. You know, suicide is the 4th leading cause of death among kids, which is tragic. And bullying is an incredibly important factor in that. And now, you know, with the internet, cyberbullying is another pandemic. I mean, I'm not trying to minimize what we're going through, but, you know, with one stroke of a keyboard, you know, kids are getting bullied to everybody in their school 24 hours a day. And it's just, you know, when I was a kid, you got bullied, like, you know, on the way to school, at lunch, and on the way home. And now, you know, kids are getting bullied nonstop.
Yeah.
And it's just so destructive. And so, you know, it's something I'm passionate about. It's something that I really, you know, it's work that I think is important and want to continue doing and kind of spread the message. And I just think that, you know, if anyone's watching this, if you're a parent, you know, you may get one shot at your kid or your younger brother or sister coming to you and being able to suck it up and say, hey, listen, I'm getting bullied. And if you're not receptive to it in that moment, they might not try and speak to somebody again. Sure, and so I think there's a responsibility on the side of adults to be vigilant and also to try and facilitate an environment where kids feel safe enough to talk about something that's highly, highly humiliating for them. You know, it's just, I mean, there's nothing worse than, you know, a young boy going to his dad and saying, hey, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me at school. You know what I mean? So like all the cards are stacked against kids feeling comfortable enough to doing it. Mm-hmm. So when they actually are able to summon up the courage to do it, it's imperative that the adults are receptive to it and do something about it.
Yeah, and as a word you've been using, compassion, you know, that's one of the things for me. Of course, Sean and you and I had a phone conversation, you know, prior to going through, you know, recovery with my addiction. Is that was one of the things that I had to start to learn, that as a man, I just didn't have to be this masculine like thing, right, which I'm so far from anyways, but I could finally embrace that I have a spectrum of thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and they're all valid. They all deserve to be heard, to be understood, to realize, you know, the best way I heard someone is, I think it was this gentleman, Tony Hoffman, we had on, who goes out and speaks to schools as well. He had crazy addiction history in prison as well. But that, you know, we gotta not only focus on those being bullied, but those that are the bullies, because there's something going on there at home. It kind of goes back to there is no bad student, only bad teacher. And like you said, if we shut off that conversation, then when they try to talk to us and they're being failed at home, then they're being failed at school. Those two institutions, there's one other potential institution they could head towards eventually.
Absolutely. For sure. You know, you hit the nail on the head. Like I said, it's a triangle. You know, we really try and speak to not just the kids getting bullied, but the kids that are doing the bullying and the kids that are being affected by, you know, witnessing it and feeling, you know, that they can't do anything, or maybe they're part of the problem cheering it on. You know, there's a lot, like, again, a lot of different nanoshades of gray in behavior that need to be addressed.
Yeah, absolutely. You were talking about your book. You didn't give us a date on that. Do you already have a publishing date coming up?
Yes.
For it,
well, it is my sincere hope that it's going to come out. I was saying before Christmas. I'm really hoping it's going to come out in early January. I'm so close to having it finished, but you know, with filming Studio City is such a big project that I really had to put the book on hold for a couple of weeks. Now I'm getting back into it, but you know, it takes some time to get it edited and get it printed and everything. But it's for sure going to be out in early 2021.
Nice. Well, we'll continue to watch on social media. I want to pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm the reader of the two here, so
he just tells me about it. Make a movie about it.
Cobra. So what I do is I use the word Cobra as from the acronym of character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And you know, I talk about a Cobra is somebody that is living their best life. And I sort of frame the whole book as if it's the dojo of life and I'm the sensei, and
Nice.
you know, it's fun and it's kind of cheeky, and I think it's going to be a fun read, and it's going to, so often we don't hear different messages. You know what I mean? There's certain things in the universe that are realities that are just good brain food, right? I mean, like what I said about having a why, right? That's not reinventing the wheel. But sometimes the wrapping paper that the message comes in, the present comes in, is what attracts the eye. And it's like, two people can be saying the same thing in different ways. Why is somebody going to gravitate to this? So, I, as the humble messenger in this book, I say maybe my way of presenting it is what is going to finally, get somebody to understand it.
Yeah. Well, and it is very true. It could be that the enticement of who you are, the roles you've done, the connectivity through the films that have inspired them, as opposed to somebody that it's like, I don't know who Deepak Chopra is, but I know who Sean Kanan is. So I'm going to check that out.
Right.
That's cool. Well, being that I'm a fan, we have to talk Cobra Kai rumors here. Okay. I know that even if you were involved, there's limited stuff, but I did read an interview somewhere with producers where they were talking about they would love to have all past cast members from the films back. Any conversation, Sean? Huh? Wink, hint?
Well, I said it before, and I mean, there's nothing that I'm going to say now that's any different, but, the guys, the producers are, they're diehard fans, which I think is amazing. I mean, there could not be better stewards of the Karate Kid universe than Josh, John, and Hayden. I do believe that they at some point would like to bring everybody back. I don't know that we've necessarily seen the last of Mike Barnes. We shall see. That's all I can say. I mean, I know, but we shall see.
Yeah, because we've already seen the trailer for season 2, so it looks like we're going to get. Daniel's son maybe going back to Okinawa, some stuff there.
For season 3.
For season 3.
Season 3.
Sorry. Yeah, for season 3. So I think it'd be interesting to have Barnes and maybe Terry Silver back,
Everyone always thinks that Barnes and Terry Silver would still be buddies, and it's like, I don't see that at all. I mean, Terry Silver, obnoxious kid who didn't achieve his goal, but the thing is that Mike Barnes was promised 50% of those dojos, and I think it'd be really interesting if he came back and said to Johnny, "Hey pal, 50% of this should be mine." Yeah. I think set up an interesting conflict with some canon validity to it. So we'll see. People ask me all the time what I think happened to Mike Barnes. I think there's a lot of different ways that the producers and writers could bring him back into this. I love the fact that these guys have such strong comedy chops that I think whatever they do, it's going to be multi-dimensional and funny, hopefully. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it as much as everyone else is. We'll see.
Yeah, who knew it? Barnes went on to become a stand-up comedian afterwards. Hey guys, I'm back for Cobra Kai.
Right, there's a relationship coach or an anger management coach.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, because I've thought about that, like so many different, because you would expect Terry Silver, because people that haven't seen maybe Karate Kid 3, he's, toxic waste dumper, a total just rich douchebag. Everyone is below him. So he's not changing. We know he's a dick still.
Yeah, he's not changing.
Barnes, maybe a lesson through it that he's gone either an antagonist or a protagonist route. And what could that be? Right. So, hey, I'm all in. I'm all in for that.
I am 5150.
I have the power to choose my own path.
When you're 5150, you choose to stand out.
If you choose to believe in yourself and trust your strength, will carry you through.
Choose to strive for greatness.
Choose to do good.
And help make the world a better place. Choose to be passionate enough to chase your dreams.
I am 5150.
Well, Sean, we like to, before we give you kind of the final word and a positive message, wrap it up with some rapid fire questions. You don't have to be too rapid. You could give them some thought, but, they're all in good fun. So fire away, Mikey.
All right. If you can have dinner with anybody you wanted, dead or alive, who would it be?
Wow. Gosh, look, I'm not even that religious, but I got to go with JC. I mean, I got
that one. We've gotten that one.
Yeah.
You and Lamar Odom. Yeah, same answer.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
Well, listen. There's a lot of knowledge there. There's a lot of mystery there as to hey, tell me about age 0 to 33. I mean,
Right.
I don't know. And I think there would be the possibility of some life-changing epiphanous information and spiritual connection that would be really interesting. I mean, a close second would be Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. I mean, I think that'd be really interesting. I mean, as much as like Einstein was fascinating, I don't know that I'd have a whole lot that he'd be interested in hearing, or that I might
totally
a whole lot of what he was saying.
Sean, the E equals the MC squared. It's just that simple. Do it.
You're like, well, this was fun. Let me get the check.
Check, please. Pass it to Mr. Einstein.
Fire away, Jason.
All right. What are some of your pet peeves, if any?
Oh, okay. I got two, and they're really stupid. I can't stand when you were in an office building and the bathroom requires a key. Okay?
Yeah,
I hate that.
stupid.
And as a corollary to that, I can't stand when you actually go in the stall and you pull the toilet paper out and it's as if somebody has taken one of those large wrenches and tightened it so that it just pulls off little by little. Those are stupid. Those are pet peeves.
Those are stupid, and I hate them.
Like, I don't like cruelty. I don't like blah, blah, of course. Nobody likes that shit, right?
Yeah.
I don't like waiting in line. I've got an absolute lack of patience, which is something that I work on diligently.
So if the wife says we're going to Disneyland, Sean, you're like, oh fuck.
Right. All right. I don't like crowds either. Not that I dislike people, but I don't like crowds. What else? And a pet peeve is really something with myself. I'm not the sharpest spoon in the drawer when it comes to technology. Although my wife is like my in-house IT guy. Like she can build computers literally. So like it doesn't affect me that much. But like if I was on my own, I'd be very angry with myself because I'm just not great with technology and things like that.
That's Jason for sure. I don't know shit about computers and all that stuff. I'm like, hey, how do you get this thing on that over there? Like, what do I need to do here? Yeah, so I get what you're
Press
saying.
the button.
Yeah. Oh, all you got to do is here, and then this key, and then that. I'm like, just fucking do it. I don't know. All right. Okay. If they were to make a movie about you, Mr. Kanan, who would you cast to play you, and why?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Come on, man. Come on. You got this.
Who would I cast to play me? I'll tell you who I would cast to play me. I would cast a young Robert Downey Jr. Not that he and I really have anything in common, but I just think he is such a phenomenal actor. Let me amend that. I think it would be really funny to watch Nick Cage play me. I don't know why. I would like to see Nicolas give me like an acid trip. I'd like to see Nicolas Cage version of playing me. Yeah, I just think.
I could just see some sort of scene where he's like, playing you, calling your folks. Yeah, I got Karate Kid 3. I'm gonna be a badass.
I would love that.
Oh shit, that's the best answer ever. Oh hell. And then, do you think if it was Nick Cage, it would have to be a comedy, like in the vein of Raising Arizona or something?
Oh, for sure, like that, or like everything he does has got comedy in it. I mean, like The Rock, and that would be my guy.
Yeah, like I always love the scene with, you know, him and Connery, you know, winners go home and fuck the prom queen. He's like, yeah, my lady was the prom queen.
And that was played by Vanessa Marcel, who I was on General Hospital with.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Nice. All right, let me see here. I was going to ask, who's your biggest inspiration? Well, okay, so you did talk about your sensei being a huge inspiration and mentor. Do you think he's your biggest inspiration and mentor in life?
No, I have to say probably my father. I mean, both my parents. My parents have both given me a lot of love and very good advice over the years. My uncle Jeffrey, who is he's a doctor. I've been very close with him all of my life. Sensei Fumio Demura, who was Pat Morita's stunt double, you know, was somebody else who has been very important in my life. My acting teacher, the late Roy London. So, you know, I think at different times in my life, different people have had significant importance. But, you know, it does kind of take a village, at least with this guy, it does.
Well, it does with
very large.
And it does with everyone, and that's what I really love and want to get out to people about, you know, not just, you know, adversities you've been, you know, gone through, but you know, taking it and now doing all this stuff to be a mentor back to youth and other people, and just, you know, your approach and how you treat people. It's just, you know, we need more of that. Mikey, you're up, good sir.
If you could travel anywhere in time, but you had to stay there, where would you go and why?
It could be the future or the past.
It would for sure be the future.
It would be the future.
No, it would be. It would be.
Oh, shit.
Yes, the future. Yeah, no, it'd be the future for sure. Well, that's a tricky one though, because could I bring someone with me? I mean, can I bring my wife with me, or do I have to leave my wife? Well, I guess either way. Well, then, you know, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Okay, fine. You could bring your wife.
Okay, you can take your wife.
That's really sweet, Sean.
Well, no, it's like that would be. I would opt out. I would say the future. I don't know, maybe like 500-600 years in the future. I think it'd be fascinating to see if we're finally, you know, interacting with you know, other civilizations in the universe. My hope would be that we, you know, wouldn't have destroyed ourselves or succumbed to some kind of a pandemic that really ultimately did, you know, threaten humanity. But I just think it would be amazing to see if we finally got our shit together and we're treating each other well, and you know, what kind of advancements in medicine and communications and all the other stuff. I think it'd be pretty amazing. I would probably find myself being completely useless though. I mean, like short of doing a monologue for our you know, for our alien overlords, I'm not really sure what
I think based off the year 2020 is going, that'd be terrifying.
Remember Ripley in Alien? Like, she fell asleep for 300 years and she like got it. Not that there's anything wrong with working on the loading docks, but like she wasn't classified to do anything else because she was so behind in the technology. So maybe I could drive one of those big things.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I hadn't thought of it, you know, that way. If it would be the Gene Roddenberry vision of what the future could hold.
That's what I think. You know, I mean, I do believe at some point, you know, I do not want to get political, but I was going to say, I do believe at some point that we will have a more unified, singular world government. The question is, who do you want to be leading that government? You know, that's the issue I have. And I'm not going to, you know, fingers or this and that, but it's like, you know, that could be very different, whether it's based on a religious theocracy, whether it's based on a democracy, whether it's based on an oligarchy. You know, it just because it's one world order, which I do think at some point is probably inevitable. You know, Ronald Reagan said it. He said it, how quickly all of our earthly disputes would seem irrelevant if we found out that we were dealing with something from out there. You know.
Yeah. No.
Well, like I was saying, based off of the way 2020 is going, I'd be scared to go into the future. I mean, we're getting court ordered to stay home, and I didn't even get arrested. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'd rather go back to the 70s. That's where all my favorite music took place. I'd like to go see them in person.
That could be fun too, yeah.
Jason, you're up.
What would you say your greatest achievement is? What do you think it is?
It's my marriage to my wife. I really think that. I think that.
That's awesome. That's a good one.
I think that getting Michelle to marry me has really helped me become such a different and better guy. A guy that I was not able to be without her. I mean, I think it was always in me, but I just think that it's really allowed me to kind of spread my wings and at least be on the path to being the guy that I've always wanted to be.
Yeah. Did she take some coaxing, Sean? I mean, were you just, no, we really need to do this. I don't know.
To marry me? No, I have to be honest. It was kind of love at first sight. I saw her, and she was literally yelling and complaining to a girlfriend of hers about something, and I was like, "Yep, that's the girl for me. I'm marrying her."
Well, it's and I hope people really hung on what you said about marrying her and what it's made for you. I read that saying the other day, and I'm gonna probably fuck it up, but you're truly in a good place in a relationship when it makes you love yourself more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for
I think
sure.
I nailed it.
I got another one I like. The right one will make you, the wrong one will break you. And
fucking A. And we both, we know what you're talking about, buddy. Let me tell you. We just looked at each other at the same time, like, yup.
Nailed that shit, you did. Mike, you got any more? Another one there?
All right. What is something some people would be surprised to learn about you? What is somebody people don't know about you? Okay, I'm totally butchering that. What is something about you that people would be surprised to learn? There we go.
Well, on the stupid side, that I talk to myself constantly, which is just bizarre, and I don't know why I do it, but I do.
I do too.
I talk to myself all the time. I'm a real dog lover. Love dogs. I am very fascinated with foreign languages. I study Italian and I study Mandarin. It's something that I've always, at some point or another, am studying some language. So maybe that's something that they would not know about me. And I love to cook.
Oh, nice. Damn it, we should have got him up here and just, hey, nobody buys. Hey, Sean, what do you want to cook tonight, huh?
Yeah.
Well, in wrapping up, Sean, this has been a total blast and a pleasure. But what kind of, words of inspiration can kind of lend to people? Of course, all of us, as of this recording, the COVID's still in effect. The holiday seasons we've gone through. That you can just kind of lend to people that from your life experience.
I think the first thing, which is going to sound cliche, but it's true, is that it can't rain all the time. This too shall pass. And as we're coming into the holidays, I think the holidays really tend to amplify everything, both positive and negative. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not going to be able to spend time with the people they love, and that's really difficult. And I would just say, the best way that I know to get out of yourself is to try and reach out and make someone else feel good, connect with them. I also think that it's really important that, we don't just survive, but we thrive. Take this time when you're home and God forbid you're not one of the people that, can't work, or if you are, find something that you can do that is going to bring value to your life and someone else's. For me, I've taken this time to really work on my book, and to prep getting Studio City done. That's been kind of the stuff that I've done to thrive. And then I'd say on a bigger note, and it's one of the things I talk about in my book, is that you need to really figure out what your success is. Not success as defined by Madison Avenue commercials and some, the conspicuous consumption of some celebrity's Instagram feed, but figure out what your internal barometer says success means to you, because ultimately you're only competing against yourself. And if you don't have an idea of what success means to you, it's like getting in a car and not knowing the destination. So I guess clarity, deciding what it is that you want to do, and just try to take this time to, shift into gear and make it happen.
Yeah. Well, anything else, Mikey?
No, I think that's it, man.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Sean Kanan, thank you so much for your time. This has been a total blast.
Guys,
I appreciate your time.
man. I'm the shit with a couple of buddies.
Yeah. Well, hopefully when all this stuff changes, like you and I've talked about, get you up here speaking to some of these schools in our area. So
I would love that. I would really love that. You guys, I want to wish you all the best. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Stay safe and keep in touch. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank
you
you
as well, brother.
Thank you so much.
All right, man.
I get those lines, showing lots of rhyme. I'ma come through and show my